Hey, welcome back. Eric Arnold here in the Politics Barn. It is the 7th of September, just passing into Thursday morning. I lost my crutch. Here it is. Here's my crutch. What do we have for you in this episode? Just a mishmash. We don't really have a cohesive, theme for the whole episode, so I guess this is just going to be kind of a hey, what's in the news kind of thing here. Couple old business points. One, Rusty Hall. There's going to be a football episode. It's probably going to be on a different channel than this one. So I'm thinking I'm just going to start a new channel where the first rule of the new channel is we don't talk politics in the new channel. And it'll be just straight sports. So I'm thinking that we'll have that up, I believe, before kickoff tomorrow. All the picks are made. All the college football picks done. All the NFL picks done. So I just got to write it on the little chalkboard here for you, and then you can do with it what you want. Other old business, just, I saw we had a couple Mr. Helpers in the comment section, which that's fine. That's the whole point, is that we're trying to reach people that are not part of our choir. We're never going to get these authoritarian thugs out of power unless we get some people that did not vote for us the last time to vote for us this time. Now, frankly, the people that commented, I don't think those people are going to vote for us in any chance in hell. But there is a possibility that there are some other people out there that haven't commented that are saying, well, I just stumbled across this and I'm not really agreeing with you, but you do have some points and I'm thinking about that. That's interesting. So, I found it interesting that, there's any Marxists out there reading or listening to my videos. I find that odd. But great, go ahead, comment. I didn't find any of your comments sensible or convincing. I mean, the one was that Donald Trump's a monster. Yeah, you just lose me there. How is Donald Trump a monster? I mean, the guy was in office for 4 years, and I don't know what exactly did he do that was so monstrous. The gas prices were kind of low. Food prices were pretty reasonable. I don't know. I mean, he killed a terrorist, I guess, a couple Iranian terrorists. I mean, Joe Biden kind of did the same thing, although I think his was just an Afghanistan family that he thought was a terrorist. I'd have to look that up, but I think that happened around the time when we were pulling out of Kabul like a frightened prom date. But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, monster, we're talking Hitler, we're talking Stalin, people that killed millions. Hugo Chavez, Castro, Mao, Zedong, all people that are communist authoritarians, which is kind of on your side of the aisle. So I'm not seeing the monster part, and it just proves my point. What I was trying to make about these legal cases is that it's probably more likely than not that he's going to be convicted because people like those two commenters that are going to be in the jury box. And these people are not going to look at the evidence. They've already decided he's guilty. So, I'll look at the evidence. It's a heavy lift to me, for me. You're going to have to prove Trump's guilty beyond reasonable doubt. That's at a minimum. Then on top of that, you're going to have to explain to me in a way that makes sense as to why the other politicians that have committed the same behavior were never charged for the same thing. Why all of a sudden is this a crime when other people have done it before? And then thirdly, why are you bringing these charges now? If this was so terrible, and basically you would say that this is the most substantial legal case in the history of this country, why did you wait until now? Why would you have not brought these charges immediately after the previous election and when it happened? Why did you wait 2 years? Now, the obvious reason is, of course, because it's not that serious and it's simply a political sham that you guys are foisting on us to keep Trump out of the Oval Office. But at any rate, all right, what else we got here? I saw that President Pudding is kind of sort of wearing a mask, not really. I guess First Lady Pudding has tested positive for the umpteenth time, despite being triple and quadruple vaxxed and boosted and reboosted and whatever the hell. And she still gets the damn thing. So, I don't know, either of those vaccinations don't work very well. Thing, or she's not very healthy, or who knows. But I guess now he's sort of kind of wearing a mask. I mean, he came out today and just basically said, yeah, I'm supposed to be wearing this mask, but don't tell anyone, I'm not going to wear it. You know, it's like, oh, okay. I mean, so when we do that, you know, we're shot. You know, people want to shoot us. People call us the worst names in the book. But when you do it, it's all cool. Okay. Just don't ever try to tell me to do anything ever again, you bastard. It's scumbag. I mean, this is a guy that threw people out of work because they actually wanted to make their own decisions about their own health and were nervous about taking a totally new experimental vaccination, which, as it turns out, seems like it has some definite side effects to it. And as it turns out, the disease, as we knew almost from the get-go, really was most dangerous for older people and not that dangerous for younger people. But no, we're not allowed to make those decisions apparently anymore in this country. Not according to President Pudding. He forced people to get the goddamn vaccination. And if you didn't, you're out of work. So he did that. And well, now, of course, his own CDC says, we recommend you do X, Y, and Z. And he's like, well, I don't really want to do X, Y, and Z, so I'm not going to. It's like, okay, well then get off my back, you jerk. But this is going to come back. I don't see any way around it. They are going to bring back the mask mandates, the vaccination mandates. They're just going to do it because we didn't protest enough the first time around, and they know they can get away with it. The Montgomery County School District in Maryland, probably one of the largest school districts in the country, they're forcing their elementary school kids to wear the masks. The N95 mask, no less. I've worn that when I had to visit my father in the hospital, and that's a very uncomfortable mask. I can only imagine trying to force 5-year-olds to wear that. It just, oh my God, it's so idiotic. But then these people are all liberals in this county. You know, that's one of the most Marxist counties in the country. So I'm kind of at the point now where, you know, if something happens in a totally blue area of the country, I almost like, well, you know, I got nothing to say about it. You know, they don't want my advice. They don't want me to help. Let them do whatever they're going to do. So you just got to hope that in areas like here in Pennsylvania, where it's about a 50-50 state, but unfortunately, we largely have the Democrats control most, if not all, the levers of power, that they're not going to force it on us. I mean, that's why I think they will. I mean, politically, that's a pretty shrewd, if not diabolical move. Well, our people want to wear the mask, so we'll force everyone to wear it, make the red people miserable. Hopefully they'll move, just leave, and then we'll have total control of the state, and it'll be another area that we control. So I have a feeling that's what's going to happen. Certainly in anywhere the Democrats have power, you're looking, it's coming. I'm almost certain of that. It's coming. There's not enough pushback. People aren't going to say, fuck your mask. Not enough of them will. What are you going to do anyway? I mean, are you going to walk into a private business that says you can't come in here if you don't wear a mask? You'll get arrested. You're going to go into an airport where they're demanding you wear a mask? You're going to go in there without a mask? You'll be arrested. You'll be put in the same jail cell next to the J6 political prisoners. So, yeah, how can we buck it? They want to put us in jail. That's pretty clear. So, we'll just have to just eat it, just like we did last time. Oh, what else? I noticed that Tucker Carlson, he thinks Trump is going to be assassinated. I don't know that's going to happen just because I think they'll be successful in putting him in jail. Now, if he makes too much noise in jail, that was a scenario that could happen. In other words, if he becomes Nelson Mandela somehow and becomes more powerful in jail than he was as a free man, yeah, they'll Epstein him. They'll kill him. But I don't know it'll come to that point. The guy I would look out for to be assassinated is Tucker Carlson. This guy's running around with his golf club in the thunderstorm, waiting to be struck down. Here he interviewed this guy named Larry Sinclair. And you're going to say, if you've heard of this guy before, you're probably saying, oh, that's old news. Why would he interview that guy? Well, for a number of reasons. A lot of us have never heard of this guy. I had only tangentially heard of this guy. And I follow this stuff pretty closely. So I know a lot of you have no idea who Larry Sinclair is. And it pertains to Barack Obama. You know, what do we care about Barack Obama? Well, as Tucker Carlson has accurately assessed, Barack Obama's the guy running the country. He's the guy calling the shots for President Pudding. There's no way, as we all can guess, that President Pudding is making the decisions on anything. Obama's behind the scenes telling Pudding what's going to go down. So Obama is definitely still relevant. So who is Larry Sinclair? Larry Sinclair is a gay guy who alleges that in 1999 he blew Barack Obama twice. What do you mean? I mean he got on his knees and put Barack Obama's dick into his mouth and sucked it. That's what I mean by he blew him twice. I'll leave the rest of it up to your imagination, although there is a hilarious moment in that Tucker interview where I don't know if Tucker did that on purpose or not, but he was describing how Larry Sinclair felt about Obama after it was all said and done, and Sinclair felt sort of negative about the ordeal, and Carlson said, so he left a bad taste in your mouth? I don't know if that was intentional, but pretty goddamn funny. So at any rate, this happened allegedly in 1999. Sinclair's story is that he was just in Chicago for an event. His godson was graduating from some damn thing. He asked the limo driver, hey, I'm looking to party, which I guess for a gay guy means, you know, get high and have gay sex. Now, we got to stop you right there. We learned from Bill Clinton that blowjobs are not sex, so I think we got to be careful about how we describe sex. He was looking, I don't know what he was looking for, but he got a blowjob. Or he gave a blowjob. So I don't know if that's sex or not, according to the Bill Clinton definition. At any rate. So the limo driver hooks him up with State Representative Barack Obama. And they do coke, and Sinclair blows Obama. And that happened twice. Apparently it happened in the limousine on the first day, and then the subsequent day, Obama went to this guy's hotel room, and he, according to Sinclair, did it again. So he then, that was in 99. Now, if you remember your timeline, Obama started to run for president as a senator from Illinois, and I believe around 07, that was when the campaign would have started. November of '08, he was elected president. So Sinclair contacts the Obama campaign in '07 and says, hey, I got this story. I blew Obama twice. I don't like the way you're presenting your candidate because I know a lot of that ain't true. I know for a fact the guy did hard drugs because I was sitting there with him. So, of course, the Obama campaign replies to him and says, you're crazy. You know, we're not talking about that. We're not admitting any of that. He names a guy who contacted him back. He says the guy's name was Don Young. So, you know, here we got some interesting details here. You know, let's get these on the board here. Larry Sinclair, Don Young. Now, Don Young is a real person. That is a person that was, we believe, in the Obama orbit, that he was part of the Jeremiah Wright Church. Now, allegedly, Young contacts Sinclair, and I'm not sure what the purpose of this call, or the call to Sinclair was. You know, I find some of this, you know, you're asking me, is any of this true? Well, you got to watch it and decide for yourself. But according to Sinclair, Young calls him and kind of says, yeah, we're not really going to admit any of that sex or drug use stuff. So, you know, you can bring it out there if you want, but we got no comment and et cetera, et cetera. But Young then also admits to Sinclair that he has been having a long-running gay relationship with Obama. That Young admitted to Sinclair that he and Obama are gay lovers. Young turns up dead in, I believe, the December of 2007. Shot, I believe, in his apartment in Chicago. To my knowledge, that crime has been unsolved and never will be solved. So Don Young ends up dead. And then, of course, Sinclair, his story was never brought out by anybody. Let's put it that way. No media outlet wanted anything to do with him. The McCain campaign didn't want anything to do with him. So it simply just went down the memory hole. Just, you know, it never happened because he could find nobody to tell his story to. So now Carlson has given the story air and let this guy say his piece. I mean, is it true? Who knows? I mean, there's certainly some elements of truth to it, in that Obama himself and Michelle Obama have admitted to having marital issues. So that's possible that that may coincide to Obama's gay period, if there was such a thing. This guy, Don Young, is dead. Now, it's certainly possible that Sinclair could have just taken some known facts and just woven his fantastical tale in between the known facts, and it could all just be bullshit. But, you know, I don't find it any more ridiculous than, say, what's her name, saying that Donald Trump just raped her in a public changing room in a New York City department store. I don't find it any more stupid and fantastical than that. So, you know, why is Carlson bringing this up? You know, like I said, Obama runs this country. You know, people generally don't know that, or they think they know it, but no one knows who's pulling Putin's strings for sure. It's probably Obama. We all think Putin's not going to make it to the start line. Well, I should say all. I'm no one saying he is going to make it to the start line and the finish line of the election in 24. That he's not going to be replaced, polls notwithstanding. So I do think Biden will be the president in 2025, unfortunately. But, you know, it's definitely a newsworthy story. So that's been covered up, due to censorship. So, you got to make your own decisions there as to whether Mr. Sinclair is telling the truth. There are some things that, you could look up and probably figure out for yourself. I mean, who was Don Young? Was he Obama's gay lover? He's been dead now for 17 years, 16 years. So that might be hard to dig up, but, I'm sure there's still people that knew this guy. What do we know about Don Young? Was he gay? Was he an intimate, if you will, of Barack Obama? How well did he know Obama? These are all things that a functioning news organization, a functioning news media would dig up. But, no one's going to do that because it's probably dangerous. And the guy they're going after is the leader of their party. So, they're not going to do anything like that. So we'll see. But I watched the video and I was like, all right, I've been educated now. Now I know who Larry Sinclair is. I've never heard the name Don Young before. It is interesting. Whatever happened to Obama's chef? What happened to him? Changing gears here a little bit. The guy just out paddleboarding at night and he just drowns. Just kind of falls off his little paddleboard and goes, oh, I drowned. That's kind of weird, ain't it? Just kind of odd, just strange. Wow, another accident, Shazam. Kind of weird. But let's see, what else? Oh, I see the DOJ. They're leaking that they're going to charge Hunter Biden with the gun crime. So what? They're not going to actually do anything. If they ever put that guy in jail for a day, I'll eat my hat. As far as they being the Biden Justice Department. Any number of things can happen there. They'll charge him, and then they'll just slow walk the case till after the election, and then Biden will pardon him. Or they'll throw the case altogether. That wouldn't be that hard to do. What movie was that? Oh, it was, gosh, well, I won't bore you because I can't. That's like my wife does that. She tries to think of something, she has a tiny thread of it, and then she spends like a good 20 seconds trying to pull it all together. Well, you sit there and just go like that. So I won't do that. But at any rate, it won't be hard to throw the case. So they could do that. They could just put it in front of the most favorable jury they could find, the District of Columbia, and just let him be acquitted. They could do anything, but he's never going to see a day in jail as long as the Biden Justice Department are the ones trying to put him in jail, because they don't want him to be in jail, of course. I watched a movie that Earl Carey is right now going, don't say it. I watched a movie called Roger and Me. And now Earl Carey is like having a heart attack because, he's a hardcore Trump guy. And, Roger and Me is Michael Moore movie. It's his first movie. That's the one that I guess got him started. Roger and Me is about the auto plants closing in Flint, Michigan in the late 80s. And it was an interesting documentary. I actually think sometimes that possibly there's not all that much that divides everybody. That maybe we actually could find some common ground on some issues. That, and I thought that a long time ago when I first started making some of these political videos, is that, try to find issues where 60% of the people or more agree on the issue, and just focus on that. But at any rate, the idea was that the evil corporation, General Motors, closes these plants despite the fact that they're making millions, and that the CEO of GM at that time was a guy named Roger Smith, hence the name, Roger and me. So a thread throughout the whole movie is Michael Moore trying to interview Roger Smith. And rather than Roger Smith just being a man and just sitting down with this guy and just saying, look, this is why we did it. This is why we closed those plants. We were making X with the plants here. We can make X plus Y by making this stuff over here. And we decided it's better for the company to go do it with X plus Y. And we're sorry that these people are out of work, but we're now employing a whole bunch of more people over there. So they're sad, but some people over here are happy. Or whatever. The guy has probably had legitimate business reasons for closing some of these plants. They're obsolete. It would cost too much to retrofit the plant. Whatever. I'm not an expert on Flint and not an expert on the auto industry and what happened in Michigan. But at any rate, they look like shit because they keep dodging this guy and just lying to him and saying, oh yeah, we'll think about giving you an interview. And then of course he actually went to the shareholders meeting where I guess if you're a shareholder, they give you a little number there and say, oh, okay, number 40, would you like to ask your question of the executive committee? And you go up there and say, I want to know why there are no tasty cakes in the break room, and whatever. And so, but when he gets up to speak, they all go, oh, meeting adjourned, second, I second, and they leave. So he never does get to ask any questions of Roger Smith. So General Motors looks like a cowardly bunch of assholes in this movie. The only person they allow Michael Moore to talk to is a consultant that they've hired. They themselves, even their PR people, tell him to just go away. So, I from that standpoint, Moore is making the point that these corporations don't give a fuck about the workers. They could care less. And yeah, I'm not way off on that. I think that a lot of that there's a definite thread of truth there. Now, where Michael Moore loses me, of course, is, he's an anti-capitalist. I am a capitalist. I don't think it's a perfect system, but I think it's the best one. General Motors goes bankrupt in 2008. The capitalist answer to that would have been, they go bankrupt. The people that they owed money to, too bad, so sad. You backed a dying company, and now you got to pay the monetary price. But that's not what happened. The taxpayers, at the point of a gun, were forced to bail those jerks out. That's not capitalism. That's some kind of socialism or fascism. I'm not sure what name you want to attach to it, but when the government's picking out corporate winners and losers, that's not capitalism. So I would wonder what Moore had to say about that. It's like, well, wait a minute. So why? Finally, these guys have made enough bad capitalist decisions, kind of like you were alleging at in the late 80s with your movie, that they're making bad decisions, and now they're going to be punished by the free markets because they're bankrupt. Well, then why the hell didn't you guys let them go bankrupt? Why did you prop them up? The obvious reason is because the unions had to save the unions. But at any rate, I just thought, I don't know there's that much sometimes dividing us. Trump is such a divisive person. And then, of course, you got people like Obama and Biden who are just as divisive, that's not a word, divisive. So it's hard, it's hard. And this is what I keep trying to get across here with these legal cases is this is an escalation that is unwarranted. It's never happened before in this country. If you're going to try to tell me that these type of crimes have never happened before, you're wrong. That's not the case. There's been things that politicians have done in this country that are, I would argue, much worse than whatever Trump's accused of. The wiser, cooler heads in this country have always just said, hey, let's, as I've said, one of the foundational points of this country is the rights of a minority. You got to recognize that, because what comes around goes around. So when you're in power, you can do a lot of things. That doesn't mean you should. And it's damaging when you do try to take your power to the max. Say, well, I can put the other guy in jail. Well, I should do that. Should you? Should you really? I mean, what happens if the other team gets control? Now what? Uh-oh. You know, now all you people are so gung-ho to put him in jail. Now all of a sudden the government's looking at you suspiciously. Ooh, that's not so fun now, is it? At any rate, let's see. Oh, we got an escaped murderer on the loose around here, due entirely to government incompetence. This guy is from Brazil, comes into this country through Puerto Rico illegally, I'm sure. That part's left out of the news stories. But I guess you can kind of, surmise that one for yourself. It's like, well, he's from Brazil, and he's here, and it seems like he didn't wait in line. He got here through Puerto Rico, so I don't know. It seems like he's illegal. Yeah, Shazam. So he kills his girlfriend here in Pennsylvania. This is what, maybe 2017, I'm guessing, because she finds out that he's accused of a murder in Brazil. Well, we can't have that. Oh my God. My squeeze here might rat me out, and I might have to go back to Brazil and face the music. Well, we can't have that, so he kills her. But he gets caught. So now this double murderer, certainly a single murderer, probably double murderer, is in the local jail in Chester County here in Pennsylvania. He escapes. It's like, how the fuck do we let murderers escape here in Pennsylvania? They just walk out the front door? How the hell did this guy get out? They're all light on that. It's like, well, it looks like he shimmied up a wall and then he squeezed between some razor wire, all in broad daylight, apparently. So this is all kind of, it's like, they're not covering that part of the story very well. Go figure. So he's loose somewhere. I don't know he's here. I mean, he very well could be. We don't have a whole lot of locks on the PoliticsBarn. The guy's been on the run for a week. So, you could probably cover some pretty good ground in a week. So I don't know how many miles he's gotten now from the prison, but it seems like they're no closer to catching this guy than when they started. So, I guess one day I'll come into the PoliticsBarn and there'll be some skinny Brazilian guy in here eating a can of cat food or something. Oh well. Hopefully he doesn't have a gun. If he doesn't have a gun, then I'm pretty sure I could take him. But if he has a gun, that's a problem. I'll have to go get my gun if he doesn't shoot me in the back first. But I just found that, the government at its finest, lets the illegal alien into the country. Then after he kills somebody, we lock him up, and then he gets out. It's like, Jesus Christ, our government can't even do the simplest goddamn things. Not even the simplest goddamn things. I mean, if you really, I've had this argument with Jerry. Jerry thinks that this is all just incompetence, that he thinks none of this is planned. In other words, I never discussed this issue with Jerry, but if I said to him, well, did Epstein kill himself? Or did they just were so incompetent that they let him, kill himself? Or did he have help? And he would probably say, well, he killed himself. He killed himself because they're incompetent. And I would say, nobody's that incompetent. But then, you see stories like this and you almost say, maybe Jerry's right. Maybe these guys just can't even do the most basic things like close the door. And that's the beauty of, where we're going is that the Democrats, they want to put the government in charge of absolutely everything. And they can't do anything. They're totally incompetent at everything. The government is completely and totally incompetent at everything. But they want them totally in charge. So that's all I have for you. I'll, like I said, get this video up and then we'll get some football picks out here for you. So great. Hey, I'm Eric Arnold. I believe in free speech while we still have it. And we'll talk again.